Analysis Critical Control Point (HACCP). HACCP is a scientific, rational, and systematic preventive approach to identification, assessment, and also the control of hazard during production, processing, manufacturing, preparation, and use of food to ensure that food is safe when consumed. HACCP can be used at all stages of food chains, from production and preparation processing, including the packaging and also the distribution. Halal Critical Point, which is HCP. HCP based on the Halal Certificate MS 1500/2009. Procedure in which the product is screened for any non-conformity according to the principle of Sharia as defined in the Codex Alimentarius based on the Quran and Hadith. As for possible sources of religiously prohibited substance in the food product, including contamination from external sources such as water, air, or from the individual itself, which is the ingredient that are placed together with non-halal food, which is non-halal or other substance in the ingredient used such as pork, gelatin, non-Sharia compliant slaughter meat.
Tropi Crunch yogurt production process begin with purchase and receiving raw material from supplier. Next, measuring the ingredient with right amount. Then heating yogurt to ferment, same as heating syrup until desired thickness. Process of cutting and storage of freeze-dried fruits, followed by freeze-dried method. Next, mixing syrup and yogurt. And lastly, packaging and retail for distribution. Each of procedure has its own critical control point (CCP) and halal control point (HCP).
For purchase and receiving, I'll be discussing the critical control point and halal control point for our yogurt product. Let's start with the first point, which is supplier verification. The risk here is potential contamination from unverified supplier. To control this, we establish a rigorous supplier approval process. This includes regular and ensuring compliance with food safety standards like ISO 22000 or HACCP. Next, we focus on receiving inspection. The risk is contaminated or damaged ingredient entering our production process. To manage this, we implement strict receiving protocol. This includes visual inspection, temperature check, and thorough documentation review to ensure the ingredient meets specified quality and safety standards. Lastly, we address storage condition. The risk involves spoilage or contamination during storage. Our control measure include maintaining appropriate storage condition such as temperature and humidity for different ingredients. For example, our main ingredient in our product, which is yogurt and coconut milk, we usually store in chilly temperature around 4 degrees Celsius and below. Next, the halal control point or HCP. Firstly, supplier certification. The risk is that ingredient might not meet halal requirement. Our control measure involve sourcing ingredient only from supplier with valid halal certification. The second HCP is receiving verification. The risk here is mixing halal and non-halal ingredient. To mitigate this, we verify the halal status of each batch of ingredient upon receipt. Proper labeling and documentation of all halal ingredients are essential, and we use a checklist for systematic verification upon receipt.
Now we move to the measuring ingredient. In the term of the critical control point, we must ensure the coconut milk is free from the contaminant that has not been exposed to the temperature that might promote bacterial growth. Also must sanitize the measuring tools to ensure the accurate measurement according to the receipt specification. And also we must ensure that all ingredients are stored in the appropriate temperature to prevent spoilage and contamination before measuring. Use the cleaner sanitized scales to measure the exact amount required. Ensure that scales are calibrated properly. In the halal control point, we must ensure that the work area is clean and has not been used to process other items that can lead to cross-contamination, and also the personnel maintain of high level of personal hygiene, include washing the hand and wearing clean gloves when handling ingredient, and use separate utensil or mark it and measuring equipment for each ingredient to prevent cross-contamination with culture from the yogurt. And lastly, implement a batch tracking system to trace all ingredients used in each batch of yogurt. This helps in quickly addressing any halal compliance issue if they arise.
Halal control point for heating syrup. First is temperature. Control point 90 to 94 degrees Celsius. This step is important to ensure proper pasteurization, killing harmful microorganisms. It can be monitored by using a calibrated thermometer to check temperature regularly. It can be done by adjust heat if temperature fall outside the range. Second is time control point, 60 to 70 minutes for final heating. The important for this step to ensure syrup reach the desired consistency and safety. It can be monitored by using a timer to ensure the syrup is heated for the correct duration. It can be done by continue heating if the time is not met, or restart the process if necessary. The last point is break. Control point 45 to 48, important because ensure the syrup has the correct sugar concentration for taste and preservation. It can be monitored by using a refractometer to measure bread levels. It can be done by adding more dates or water and reheat if bread level is outside the range. So next is a critical control point, which is CCP. CCP1 is heating. For the first time, temperature must be 90 to 94 degrees Celsius for 35 to 40 minutes to ensure they soften properly and potential pathogen are reduced. CCP2, which is heating second time, temperature must be 90 to 94 degrees Celsius for 60 to 70 minutes until bubble form. So the purpose to achieve the desired syrup consistency and further reduce microbial load. CCP3, which is the breed test part, breed range must be 45 to 48, and this purpose to ensure the syrup has the correct concentration and sweetness.
Moving on to the next process, cutting and storage of freeze-dried fruits. The first one is rigorous sanitation and segregation. A thorough cleaning and sanitation program ensures equipment used for cutting and handling the fruits is free of harmful bacteria. Next is the potential allergen contamination. Likely implement a CCP to manage potential allergen contamination. This might involve procedures like rigorous cleaning protocols to prevent allergen during the cutting and storage of freeze-dried fruits. After that is precise freeze-drying control. The freeze-drying process undergo meticulous control. Fruit sizes, temperature, time and humidity are carefully monitored to preserve the vibrant flavors and textures of the fruits. By maintaining a low water activity through precise freeze-drying, Tropical Crunch yogurt minimizes the risk of spoilage caused by bacteria or mold. To ensure freeze-dried fruits meet HACCP standards, we have to ensure raw material source. The fruit suppliers need to be verified to have proper documentation separating halal from non-halal products. This is to avoid fruits from sources with unclear halal status or lacking certification. Next is the cleaning and sanitation. During equipment and surface cleaning and sanitation, ensure the cleaning solutions and sanitizers used are halal certified. This prevents contamination that could compromise freeze-dried fruits' halal status. The storage conditions. After freeze-drying, store fruits in a designated area separate from non-halal products. This avoids any risk of contamination from other products or unsuitable environments.
Let's continue our presentation with the drying method for freeze-dried fruits using a freeze dryer. From the standpoint of critical control point and halal certification, the drying process, which for freeze-dried fruit process itself, does not require CCPs or HCPs, usually because there are no particular risks or hazards related to food safety. Rather, the emphasis lies on the complete conformity to halal requirement during the manufacturing process, encompassing the procurement of ingredient, cleaning of equipment, and mitigation of cross-contamination. The exclusion of CCPs or HCPs in the drying process does not negate the significance of freeze drying or suggest that it should be disregarded. The product's overall halal integrity should still be preserved by adhering the proper handling and cleanliness procedure.
Next, number 6 is packaging and retaining. Okay. Number 1 is critical control point. For sealing integrity, ensure it is airtight with no leaks or defects. Use visual inspection and testing to check for problems. Take immediate corrective action if a heat shrink pack or barrel is defective. Number 2 is packaging sterility. To maintain a clean workplace, regularly check and control microorganism levels. Use environmental swabs or microbial tests for monitoring. If levels exceed standards, promptly clean and sanitize surfaces. Okay, number 3 is temperature control post-packaging. Store food between 4 degrees to 6 degrees is important because product kept cool need time to adjust. If temperature change regularly, monitor temperature, and if there are problems, adjust storage condition and check the food. Next is Halal control point. Number 1 is packaging material. Halal certification is crucial for ensuring the use of halal certificate packaging materials and prohibiting the use of non-halal item or substances prohibited by the law. Number 2 is employee practices. Halal handling procedure are strictly enforced by conducting the training session, audit and observation with retraining and disciplinary measure used for a non-compliance. Number 3 is sourcing of ingredient. Ensure all components meet halal requirement, excluding non-halal products by ensuring supplier have halal certification and refuse non-halal product. Handling and storage. Halal ingredients should be stored and handled differently to prevent cross-contamination with non-halal product. Regular check and staff education for accommodation. Okay, number 5 is equipment and utensil. Halal operation require dedicated equipment, effective cleaning, and sanitizing to ensure no contamination. Regular inspection and maintenance logs are essential for maintaining cleanliness and safety.
Next, I will discuss the critical control point and halal control point for the mixing process of our coconut milk-based yogurt with date syrup. Next, for critical control point CCP, firstly, mixing temperature control, temperature range between 18 degrees Celsius to 22 degrees Celsius to prevent microbial growth, ensure consistency and maintain ingredient stability. Continuous temperature monitoring with probes. Secondly, mixing time, ensure adequate mixing time for homogeneity of yogurt and date syrup, use timer or process control system, regular check for the adjustment based on recipe. Thirdly, for the ratio of yogurt to date syrup, critical limit which maintain a precise ratio 5:1, which is 100 gram of yogurt and 20 gram of date syrup. Use calibrated measuring tool for accurate proportion and regular verification and documentation on ingredient ratio. For halal critical point HCP, firstly, equipment cleaning and purity. All mixing equipment, including glass jars, container, and utensil, must be truly cleaned and sanitized to remove any traces of non-halal ingredient or contamination. Secondly, halal certification of ingredients. All ingredients used to make coconut milk-based yogurt and syrup dates used in the mixing process must have valid halal certification. This ensures that all ingredients meet halal requirements. Maintain up-to-date record of halal certificates for all ingredients. Regularly review this document to ensure they are current and valid.
Moving on, we will explore the critical control points during the process of heating coconut milk yogurt to ferment, ensuring it meets halal standards. First, temperature control is crucial. We pasteurize the coconut milk mixture by heating it to 80 to 80 degrees Celsius for 60 minutes. This kills harmful pathogens and reduces spoilage agents like molds and yeast. After heating, we quickly cool the coconut milk to 40 to 45 Celsius. This step prevents the growth of heat-tolerant bacteria, maintaining food safety. Next, we ensure our bacteria cultures are halal certified and free from non-halal additives. The starter culture containing Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus is added at 40 to 45 Celsius. During incubation, we maintain a temperature of 43 Celsius and constantly monitor the acidity to promote the growth of beneficial bacteria. Finally, we store the yogurt at -4 Celsius or below to inhibit the growth of fungi and pathogens. It is also crucial to keep it separated from non-halal ingredients to avoid cross-contamination. By following these steps, we ensure our coconut milk yogurt is both delicious and compliant with halal standards.
For conclusion, the case of Tropic Crunch yogurt exemplifies the successful integration of HACCP and halal compliance within the food production process. This commitment ensures not only the safety of the product for all consumers, but also caters specifically to the religious requirement of Muslim consumers. Strong management is key to following halal guidelines and a regulation throughout our food production process. By prioritizing this aspect, we can secure the trust of our target audience and maintain a strong market position.